am in a conversation with somebody very, very interesting. Uh, so, first of all, this conversation is happening live as we speak over on Facebook. So, welcome, Shashank Kansal. Welcome. So, people at this very moment on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Periscope, on Twitch, and on our dear Clubhouse. That's where we met. So, Shashank and I are going to be in a conversation uh, on life, business, and a little bit more. And this is a transcontinental conversation, which Prashant and I are both are very, very, Shashank and I are very, very, very busy people. So we set up this conversation about 2 minutes back.
Yes.
Yeah. And here we are. I remember, Shashank, yeah.
I'm taking a leap of faith and doing this for the very first time, going from audio to video along with my dear friend Ashish ji. And I am literally taking that leap of faith. It was just a chance call. You called, we talked. We've been meaning to talk for like, what, 72 hours now? And suddenly it happened 10 minutes ago. And you said, just get on the video call. And here I am.
Let's just do it. Fantastic. So, Shashank, so we are also discovering all this. So what I did is I just muted your voice on mute the speaker on your laptop so that both of us, we hear each other only on this earpiece. No, not that. As in, you shouldn't hear anything from the laptop. So I just killed your voice from the laptop. Yup. So now we are good. So we are going to be ready to have a conversation. So welcome, dear friend. We are meeting Transcontinental. What time of the day is it where you are?
It is 10:41 in the morning in the UK.
And you will need to unmute yourself on Clubhouse.
Yeah, it's 10:41 a.m. in the UK.
10:41 a.m. And it is 3:11 and here in Mumbai. And so we are also going to do some jugglery. So the jugglery is going to be that as you speak on Clubhouse, you'll have to unmute yourself and do this. So if you see Shashank and me juggling, you're right, we are juggling, right? So, hey, so a lot of people are saying hello. A lot of things are there. So, okay, we can run the things also. So, dear Shashank, one thing which intrigues me and how important do you think is impromptu in life? Things that happen suddenly.
Serendipity, impromptu, coincidences, they never cease to amaze me.
Yeah.
We think that we plan ahead a lot.
Yeah.
But in reality, most of the things happen by chance, by being in the right place, right time. That's what I think. I've always believed in it, and I believe it right now as well.
And I really think that the right time and the right place is where we are. Because as much as I have tried to time myself and to make those right, finding out the right times, I have discovered, hi Sanjay Kumar Joshi, I have discovered that the right time is the time that I am in and the people that I am with. And so if I can just, put this in the context of, thank you, bahut shukriya aapka. So in the context of life itself, Zhang, in terms of business, in terms of whatever that each one of us is doing, we all agree, we all say that timing is important. Okay. Tell me honestly, my friend, how much of a say do we have in the timing? Do we at all have a say in the timing?
Well, yes, sometimes we do have a say.
Okay.
Because of course, like, my wife had planned that she was going to take the children to a zoo this morning.
Yep.
So children woke up at a certain time, they had their breakfast, they got ready, and they have left for the zoo today. So that kind of micro planning is required.
Yeah, and I'm getting slightly clairvoyant, and I'm kind of seeing at this moment that where your wife, before she left, she gave you some instructions. I'm just putting on my clairvoyant hat, which you can't see. It's an invisible one.
The question is, do you remember, or can you see what kind of instructions she might have given me? She gave me 3 instructions specifically.
Okay. And those 3 instructions, see what interests me is that someone planned and did some micro planning, has gone to the zoo and has planned out certain things for you.
Yes.
But do I see a spanner being thrown into your plan at this moment?
Oh
and
God.
is it not a lot like life itself, that with all the planning and the micro planning that we do, things happen.
Yes, I had planned that I'm gonna have a just completely lazy day. It's a Sunday. Wife and kids will be gone. I will just walk the dogs for half an hour, 1 hour, and the rest of the day I can do whatever I want. So, what does your clairvoyant mind say? What are the kind of things she might have done for me?
No, what I'm discovering is that my clairvoyant mind is telling me that you're actually doing what you want to do.
That's always true.
Yeah,
We always do what we want to do,
exactly.
irrespective of what happens in life.
Exactly. And that's something which really intrigues me, Shashank, is that many a times we want to grudge the fact, we want to grudge certain things that we are doing, and we say that we are doing because we have to. But over the years in my life, I've discovered that I actually am doing what I want to, but I may complain about it, or I may rejoice about it. And that's where I want to ask you, because you are somebody who's done some interesting work on technology much before we even knew how technology turned out. All right, can you tell us something about that aspect of you? And I'll just leave the full screen for you. Tell me about your journey as an entrepreneur and how you navigated with technology, or you saw things about technology that a lot of people didn't.
So, technology has changed every aspect of our life, practically every aspect. Sorry.
You will need to,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
sure. So, technology has changed practically every aspect of our life: how we shop, how we communicate, how we interact, how do we transact, how we bank, how we travel. You can think of practically anything and everything in the world. It has changed. How the factories do the logistics, how people raise their kids. If a new kid is about to be born in the family, you decide about a name, and the first thing you do is you go on the internet and try and find out what are the possible names, what letter do you want, is it related to a meaning or not meaning, etc. My wife and I went through 6 months of exercise with each of our kids. So it's that simple: finding a name, to setting up a domain name, or buying something, shopping from one platform to the other platform, or trying to sell something, do a hustle. And I mean, Clubhouse, just talk to each other on audio format with a profile picture. And I'm looking at the screen right now. It's amazing to see some of the very good friends of ours on the listening panel. And I'm this first time I'm doing video with you, and you told me that it's going through Facebook and YouTube and Twitch, which I've never done before. So everything, I mean, you wanted to experiment something literally 10 minutes ago, and we are able to experiment it within minutes. Um, Across, I'm in England, you are in India, you're at a hotel in between your shoots. I was supposed to do something which I'm not going to do because I can't hear you.
Uh, I said you're doing all those things, all the things that your wife had planned for.
Uh, I think once I get off this video call, I will have no choice, but I'll have to do them.
So when life, so that's the interesting part, that in business too, when you got into technology, did the rest of the world see technology? Did the majority of the world see what you were seeing at that point?
That is never the case, because what
Mm.
happens is people do mostly what they are great at. So a barber
Mm.
was possibly looking at how can I make my barber business better. A restaurant was looking at
Mm.
how can I make restaurant business better. They did not know
Obviously.
that booking can be done online, and they can reach people outside of their 1 mile radius, for example. Right?
Mm.
For example, taxi driver had to go and stand at the taxi stand to find new customers, and customers knew that I have to walk this many meters to get to a taxi stand. But
Mm.
technology has changed that you can summon a taxi to come to you.
Sure.
So people had to go to shops to buy something to bring home. These days, even grocery, you order it and it comes to your home. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like cooking one day, you press a couple of buttons and you can have whatever cuisine you want
Mm.
uh, at home, delivered within 30 minutes,
Sure.
practically in most major cities in the world.
Mm. So here is an interesting one. You know what you said is that typically when we look at something new, we want to improve what we already have.
Yes.
But true disruption is trying to give birth to something which doesn't exist with the new.
100%. If you look at all the major entrepreneurs in the world, and people keep on, quoting Henry Ford for it, that
Mm.
if I had asked people what do they want, they would have said faster horses,
Faster horses. Yeah.
right? So because people's imagination of
Mm.
something that doesn't exist is limited, and it's nothing wrong with it. People's
Sure.
imagination, there's nothing wrong with it, but some people think beyond that as to what is possible. What can I create, which
Mm.
people might want? I mean, iPad's case, iPhone's case is the perfect example. People did
Mm.
not know that you don't need to have the hard coded digits on your phone. You can have a smart screen which can change with as and when you want. And you
Mm.
don't need a stylus. Before iPhones and smartphones arrived, there used to be a
Mm.
stylus which you press and do that, because you thought those
Mm.
designers thought that you need to have a pointed design, pencil
Mm.
or something,
Sure.
stylus to press it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, some people have a capability to think beyond what is available today,
Mm.
and then they lead people. And in the process, lots of people fail as well. It's never
Sure.
that some people have this capability and they will do it and they will always be right. Many
Mm.
people have been trying to create what is called a paper, which can be very similar to these days Kindle devices, etc., where paper you can write and you can scribble and whatever. There's a big Harvard case study about the, if I remember, something called Paper Ink. There was a company called
Mm.
Paper Ink.
Okay.
They burned millions of dollars to create a paper with disappearing ink,
Ah.
and it did not succeed. But now there are devices which are very similar to that. So it took
Yeah.
30 years in making, but it happened.
But it happened, and the context was different.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
what they how they. So in fact, that's the interesting one, and that's what interests me. That when I meet different sets of people, um, they alter my context of life itself. See, who I am and who you are is what what we wake up with, and then we go to sleep. The whole day we spend. Uh, when I meet a new set of people who I will not even say challenge, but they are living a different context, it
Mhm.
opens me up to ways of thinking which were completely non-existent for me.
Yeah.
Therefore, in this new world, and as you said that rather than the barber thinking that how can I increase my business of being a barber, and rather than getting faster horses, look at something else, something completely different, something which can. So here is a thing that as we meet people, and this is a question as well as something observation that I want to share, is that as I meet people, not only am I listening to what they are thinking and how they are thinking, I'm also listening to what are their concerns and what could be the next problem area which probably needs to be addressed. So you as an investor, how does your what are the possibility conversations you look at when you are looking at life itself and at business?
So, in context of startup and businesses which will product or services to the people, uh, most first-time founders think that money is their only problem. They have this greatest idea, and if they had money, they would change the
If
world.
only, yeah,
If
if
only
only
I
that.
had money, I
Yeah.
would change the world, because my idea is
Mm.
going to become next Google and next Facebook or next Microsoft or whatever.
Mm.
99.9% of the first-time founders think that.
Mm.
However, that is the biggest fallacy.
Mhm.
If you have the right product or a service, money
Mhm.
chases you, not the founder chasing the money.
So if you have something good,
Yes,
then that which you are waiting for to make that good will actually chase you.
yes. It's
Uh,
99.9% of the case that is the reality.
it's so. Hey, Mahima, how are you? Good to see you. And Mahima is again a person that we have both Shashank and I have met on Clubhouse. And Mahima, guess what? This conversation is happening simultaneously on Clubhouse as well as on all the platforms. So an interesting one. And yes, so So rather than looking at um, the fixed ways of creating solutions, for example, I'll share something like that with you in a slightly different context. As an actor, me included, many a times have thought that if I had known somebody, something would have happened. Okay, if I had known somebody, and then at times you start knowing people, and you discover, hey, listen, the idea was not whether you know them. The idea is that what you have to offer, do they find that of interest?
100%.
So the key part, rather than, and that's what I've discovered across the things that I do as a speaker, as an actor, as a traveler, is that rather than looking at ways to, and this is a tricky one, Shashank, and I'm throwing that at you. Rather than going about just finding ways to fulfill what you wish to do, okay, and then finding ways to do it, how would it be if you can actually marry what they want with what you want, and then create
The
something which is coming closer to that? Yes, over to you.
Sure. The I mean, there are probably hundreds of books written about try and find a problem and find a solution to that one problem. And most founders try with one idea, tiny idea, the shower, idea during the shower or having a cup of tea or having a morning walk. They have that one idea. But by the time they move towards bringing the product or service, they put too many bells and whistles on top of that idea. And that's the biggest not to do. You should not.
Can you please explain this? Can you please explain this?
So, most of the founders, they have the shower moment idea. They're having a shower and they think, this is the problem and I want to solve it. It's a aha moment. Yeah, aha light bulb moment. Then they sit on a piece of paper, like they sit in their study or whatever, and they start writing what I'm going to do. How do I solve this problem? And then, of course, these are the thinkers. They come up with many things which will also be ancillary products or services, or this would be nice to have features on top of that fundamental idea, the aha moment.
Got it.
Which is what in my mind is a lot of people in this startup world call it bells and whistles. So you decorate the Christmas tree and you put bells and whistles on them or whatever. You put too many decorations on top of the original thing. And that's a fundamental problem that most of the startup people do, is that they take that aha moment and they start putting too many toppings on top of that basic classic pizza. And when you start putting too many toppings, then what happens, you start eliminating people who wanted the original pizza. Because some people like jalapeno, some people like pineapple. It's like a global debate. Some people like pepperoni, some people like, multiple vegetarian, like multiple vegetables on it. Some people like onions, some people don't like onion. But pizza, everybody loves. So if founders are able to create the fundamental aha moment and at least bring that to the people and get their feedback as to what kind of things people want. And a classic example of this is this. A lot of people use Facebook these days or LinkedIn. But if you go back in the original format, they did not have the like button.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. So people were just able to post. And it used to be, if you would, like me, it would be Shashank Kansal, and they had hard-coded is. And I had to write, what is it that I'm doing? So that was the first in 2007. So all my posts were Shashank Kansal is, and I would say going for a walk or taking a flight. So Shashank Kansal is taking a flight. So that became a sentence. Then they realized that people didn't want to write what am I doing, but I want to just say something which is nothing to do with what is my activity. So they dropped the is. Then it became Shashank is posting something, whatever, just whatever. Then they invented the like button. One of their, very famous person from the early team, they created that like button. And then there was this global groups and conversation. No, I don't like this post. I want to unlike it. I want to dislike it. Yeah. Because this is so bad that I want to dislike it.
Yeah.
So instead of thumbs up, there should be a thumbs down button.
Yes.
And there was a huge pressure from entire world that we must have a dislike button. There were Facebook groups created about it. There were online forums. People were talking everywhere on the planet Earth. We need a dislike button. they never created dislike button
Sure.
because they kept on saying that dislike is about negative.
Mm.
So we will not create the negativity around dislike because that might
Mm.
be impacting somebody's mental health. It could be impacting
Sure.
whatever. They had hundreds of reasons why not to do it. Also, when people were talking about it, that was free publicity for them.
Sure.
So founders need to think these things in multiple
Ah,
formats.
so very interesting. So what you're saying is at when you have got that basic idea, go about creating it and let there be a debate. And I mean, let's face it, we have got product after product which comes, and then some people are saying that in this alliteration the camera is going to come up, and then the camera isn't that level, and suddenly people are saying, why isn't the camera that? And what you're sharing, Shashank, is that people are talking about you, and they are
Exactly.
saying eight very good, two could have been better, which two would you, but could that be? But each time they take that name, they're taking the name of a Samsung or a OnePlus or an Apple or anything. So really, I mean, one of the things that is coming up for me at this very moment is that don't try to get it perfect.
Yes.
And in that waiting to get it perfect, you may have missed the bus again. And
Perfection never happens.
mhm,
There is no perfection in the world.
mm,
So it is iterative and incremental innovation on piece of whatever you built. And that's what people should strive for. And many a times, yes, you should always listen to your customers, but don't get swayed by your customers in the first instance. Put a thinking behind it. If you're successful, you're fortunate enough to have a team and kind of good capability to analyze what people are saying, then strip the emotions and look at the data. And more people strip the emotions and look at the data, more likely they're going to go from one success to the other success to the other success. Yes. Yes, 100%. It's the focus. I mean, every startup evangelist will say again and again and again, focus is the most important thing for any founders. As soon as you digress from the focus. I mean, you defocus from the basic thing, then things start falling apart. Yes. Oh. Oh my God. I am.
you
I
are holding
am taking this leap of faith with you on the
back.
video format. You are a pro for so many years, and
Yes, yes, yes.
things we do
And
for our
here
friends.
again, what we are doing, Shashank, we are again pushing the limits of what possible use this technology can be put to. Okay, and here is another aspect is that both you and I, we are also we are wedging in something which was not part of our larger game plan, right? For me, I was just getting ready. Just to show to the people, this is where I am. So yeah. Okay, one sec. Am I not being heard? Can you hear me? Yeah.
You know,
All right.
yeah.
So this is
You're
my
back.
makeup spot. Yeah, this is my makeup spot, and I'm kind of all set up and ready for my makeup. I've
Thankfully,
actually
you
done my
have makeup
makeup.
shot, but I have no makeup. You can see that.
Shashank, I look like this, after a little bit of a touch up. I have to put up a mustache, so I can't shoot with the mustache on, because that'll reveal the thing. So what I was sharing is that you had certain work to do. I have certain work to do, and we have found a sliver of time in between and doing something. How important is it for somebody who is involved in business and is creating afresh to actually find in between the stuff that they're doing and the feedback they are getting, to find something which could be possibly contrarian to both, but work on the gut level of what they think they should be creating. How important is a gut feeling in this entire process for you?
It has always worked for me.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes it has also gone wrong. My
Got it.
gut's telling me to do something, and I did it anyway, ignoring the data, ignoring what was
Mm,
happening around, ignoring the
mm,
signals, because the gut was overpowering. The emotion and mind takes over, and you want to do it because your gut is telling you to do that.
got it.
So sometimes I've gone wrong, but most of the time it has always worked out because
Mm,
it is instinctively the analysis done by the brain, and that's what we call the gut. When the
mm,
mind and the heart is in sync, and whatever voices we hear, that is what we call the gut feeling, right?
mm. But essentially, one thing is clear, that whatever decisions that you and I take in life or business, any one of us who are watching and listening in, the buck stops where we are.
100%.
Okay. So that is a liberating thing for me, Shashank, because when I get that the buck stops where I am, then I have no one to blame for not doing anything that I gut, liver, whatever, for reason that I thought. And and that also gives me what you just said, that um, there is a lot of data involved, and yet you go beyond. So I'll just share with you on a very personal basis. Uh, there is data for whatever you want to collect it for. I don't know whether
Yes.
you are aware. You want to collect data that this is wrong, you will collect data for that. You think,
Yes.
because in life, things are not about just right and wrong, but about what could work. And that could work has got variables which are far beyond anything. So for me, even as an actor or as a communicator, the various facets that I'm exploring for myself, exploring is the word, is because I do not know whether it'll work out the way others will say it's worked out or not. But the very fact that I'm taking responsibility of my life and my responsibility, so responsibilities of my life and taking responsibility of my responsibilities, now I'm free to fly.
100%.
And
I
yeah, go
Sorry,
on.
go ahead. No, no, go ahead. You
Yeah, no,
complete
no,
with
no,
one.
no. So I just completed. I just want to hear your thoughts on that. Yeah.
So, a lot of people talk about regret.
Mm.
Do I regret a decision that I took in the past? And I tell a lot of the people that I mentor, young people, founders, and stuff, that you should. I don't regret. I don't tell them what they should do. I tell them what I do.
Mm. Mm.
And in my life, very rarely would I regret what has happened in the past because
Can you unmute yourself on the Clubhouse, please?
I'm unmuted. Are you not able to hear me?
No. Oh yeah, you're unmuted. Yeah, yeah, you're unmuted. I can hear you. Yes.
Are you able
For
to hear me
some reason,
now?
that mute. No, I can hear you. That
Okay.
sound, that sign said muted, but doesn't matter. We can hear you.
Okay. Sure. So regret. So I rarely tell people what they should do. I try and tell people what I have done so they can learn from that experience and decide whether it works for them or not. I
Sure.
always say that we all take decisions based on available data in the given time.
Hmm.
Right? When you decide to start a company, whether you decide to pivot from a particular idea, whatever, you are making that decision in that time. The outcome can be either because of the decision you took, or outcome could be based on unintended consequences that happened outside of your control.
Got it. So you have taken a decision based on, you started off basis certain data which is already there, and
Yeah.
yet between the time that you have taken the decision and whatever comes to fruition, there are things happening which are outside of this. Yes, go on.
Yeah. Then you should not look back. I mean, I don't look back and say my decision was wrong,
Mm.
because making your own decision, calling your own decision wrong is regret. I don't do that
Mm.
because at that time, if I was wiser as I am today, I would have taken a different decision. So
Got
why
it.
regret of the past? Because past at that time, with your intellect, with your wisdom, with your knowledge, with your experience, with the data that you had, you took a particular decision. Now, outcomes, if continuously in your life outcomes are becoming wrong, then you need to go back and think, how do I make different kind of decisions?
Correct.
If And that's what the whole point about experience and wisdom brings in, because you have made so many decisions and you realize the pattern of what kind of decisions you make and what kind of outcome happens.
Mm.
So yeah, I look back and I never regret. I always try and see, okay, what do I learn from the failure or success, and how do I replicate more successes and minimize more failures in the future based on the patterns that I've developed.
knowing fully well that it's my life, and those successes and failures is a game that I'm playing. Again, there is no certainty to it, but I'm
Exactly.
playing. I'm
Exactly.
playing. And that's it, my friend Shashank. It's
Thank
the
you.
pleasure.
Thank
It's
you.
a pleasure of you. You excite my minds. You excite my way of thinking each time that I interact with you. You open up. You open up nooks and open up windows to light up certain things. And because you're so unlike me, you're so unlike me in the way you think, the way you articulate, and uh, uh, so just to let you all know again, I met Shashank. I've never physically met him. I met Shashank over Clubhouse over the last 4 months, and since then, um, the interesting thing that I've discovered is that there are whole new ways of interacting and meeting with people. As a final note, Shashank, as we can complete this impromptu conversation of ours, where does life and business intersect for you, and what would you vote for, or how would you manage both?
Now, I'm not a philosopher. You asked me very
No,
philosophical
that's why I'm
questions.
asking you this. I'm a philosopher. I can think like that. You're a hardcore businessman. You were like, so Shashank is like, tak, hello, this out, this out. Like, I talk la and he talk tak, tak, tak. My
Uh,
friend,
you are a pro and so many things, and I learned from you so much. And a lot of people around the world. I mean, you have millions of people who absolutely adore what you do because of the characters that you bring to life. They are written by some person, composed by other people, and you bring that to life for people to learn from. And a very tiny way, I do that for the startup world, the tech world. And intersection, at different times, I've thought different pieces of how intersection is. Now, I think I reinvent myself every year. Come successes, come failures, come challenges, and I keep learning. I mean, since I had the dogs for the first time, my dogs arrived before the kids arrived. I started learning a lot from my dogs because they teach you how to communicate without verbal communication,
mm,
just giving signals. Then my
mm.
kids arrived, and I learn from kids every day. So I'm on a learning journey like everybody else. And I think more than anything else, last 1.5 years has taught me that we shouldn't wait for the right time. Right time is every day today. And you mentioned about finding the gap between the two things. Like you are about to go for a shoot. I'm about to go those tasks that my wife has told me to do today. Uh, but we managed to find this time, and this is amazing.
Absolutely.
And we managed to share it with so many people. And because it's the first time that you managed to do it, it's probably recorded, which means
Yep.
it'll stay there for eternity. And we can go back and look at this and reflect. And then next time, maybe do it better. And you have done
And do it.
something which I've never done before. That
Yeah.
first time ever, I managed to go on video, live telecast, which I've never
Yes.
ever done before. So thank you.
Fantastic. You just and as you rightly said, today is the day. Today is the best day. And it was
Today
on
is the
my
best
birthday,
day.
on my 56th birthday, Shashank, of all the wishes that I received. One of them was very powerful. It said that today is the youngest you will ever be.
Yes. Oh, one day I will possibly, if you keep on pushing me like this, one day I'm going to learn acting and probably act in a film, and we will go to the stage and, do something amazing.
I look forward to that, Shashank. But even before that, I look forward to traveling with you sometime, and
Absolutely.
sometime soon, and we'll share a meal and raise a toast, and lots of love, dear friend.
You
Lots of
and
love.
me together, we'll travel and we'll
Yep.
have some great music and laughter
Oh
and
my
fun
God,
together.
that'll be amazing. That'll be amazing. So that's it, my friend. This is a Sunday transcontinental conversation which has been set up impromptu in between Shashank Kansal and me, Ashish Vidyarthi. It's an absolute pleasure, delight when we can just connect and create something. Yes, today is special because today is the only day that we have. And today, you and I are the youngest that we'll ever be. So let's make the most of it. Let's make the most of this moment. The right time is this time. And let's make this
Absolutely.
time right.
You haven't still told me what is it that your clairvoyance says that my wife has asked me to do. You can't leave without
something
what you.
about something about putting some things in order, maybe even cooking up something. And what was the third thing? I'm just trying to recall.
You're so good. You're so good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So we will leave it to Shashank to let us know later what is the third thing that I missed out on. Remember,
Absolutely.
I'm a Vidyarthi just like Shashank is. He's also a student, and I'm hoping that each one that we are interacting with is a student too. Lots of love to you all. A lot of learnings, a lot of learning from each other, and best wishes, everybody. Thank you, Shashank. Get back to
Thank
the
you,
two and a
Ashish
half
ji, and
task.
thank you, everybody. Thank
Lots
you.
of
Thank
love.
you. Thank you so much.
Lots of
All
love.
right.
Lots of love.
See.
As we end the broadcast here on the other channels,